Hey, I'm not arguing, am I? Do I look like I'm arguing?
Hey, speaking of the ACC, Jeff, we have a lot of people in the chat right now are asking you about Chris Mack and what the hell is going on.
It's brutal. I mean, listen, when I was there in the preseason, I said to him, if you can combine all three of your point guards, you'll have a pretty good point guard. But honestly, like they're good point guards. They're just not great point. They're not Louisville level point guards. And if he doesn't get in the tournament again this year, with all the shit that's happened around that program, and I defended the hell out of him for the Dino Gaudio shit, because to me that was garbage that they suspended him. Complete garbage. It was stupid because he didn't bring in a compliance person or something, or a human resources person, to fire Dino Gaudio. Thought that was complete garbage by the school to do that. But the bottom line is, if you don't get to the tournament 2 years in a row at Louisville, yeah, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Can they use the sanctions and all that? Is that an excuse still or no?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is, because it's still hanging over their head and they can't recruit at the highest level guys. Okay. So they're not, but they weren't, that wasn't going to be Chris Mack anyway. He wasn't going to get top 10 or 20 players. So, I think, again, you had moves that were made on the staff that might have, again, last year's team didn't have a ton of talent beyond the top 3 or 4 players. Okay. And the other thing is, listen, to me, the biggest problem is their front court right now. Jalen Withers has been atrocious compared to what I thought he was. Like I was to practice and I'm like, this kid could be should be their best player. He's got upside. He could be a pro. He has not been good. He's been very disappointing this year. And again, if you don't,
same thing with Samuel Williamson. Same thing with Samuel Williamson. Like those were the two guys.
Yeah,
those are the two guys. He was a McDonald's All-American. He was more than a top 50
recruit. Though. I think they knew this year Williamson wasn't going to be what people thought he was going to be coming out of high school. But I thought they think they had enough. They had enough. Well, their shooters aren't making shots, right? Like,
yes,
Noah Locke wasn't making shots, and Matt Cross wasn't making shots. And then you've got point guards that aren't. It's just all over the place right now. So, yes, to answer the question, like, it's a mess right now at Louisville, a mess.
See, this is why I like being on with Stadium Insider Jeff Goodman, because I can speculate till the cows come home about whether his job's in jeopardy. But you have a little more inside intel. I'm just a guy. On the court coming into the year, I was like, I kind of like some of the disparate parts that Louisville has. Just putting them together and finding a star and getting offensive execution has not happened. The shot making has been really, really poor. I think that's kind of the first thing that they have to solve, because then you get better floor spacing, and they just don't have any of that right now. It's trouble in paradise in Louisville for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think that it helps that I think very highly of Luke Murray as an X's and O's guy, right? And I think that not having him on the bench is definitely something that hurts them as well. Their offense this year went from I think they were 92nd in KenPom last season and now they're 161st in KenPom.
Well, he brought in Ross McMains, a guy from overseas, from Europe, that we met in the summer. I think you met him. Did you meet him with me, Rob?
No, he gave me the blow by.
The Heisman. Yeah, well, everybody gives you the blow by.
I did. I am used to it at this point, man.
Yeah. So they brought in somebody. Chris brought in somebody from overseas that he thought was going to completely change the offense. And the bottom line is still you need point guard play to be able to run a really good offense.
When I watched them earlier, I tweeted this at the time. They look like they're thinking about the next move. Like, where do I cut? Where do I pass? There's no like thinking to score. It's like, I've got to move it on and then go cut, where you want to naturally catch the ball and think about scoring. And it's just not really in their mind yet, because I don't think the system that they've installed is fluid or natural to them yet.
Yeah, it's not pretty, and it should never be pretty when you get blown out by Pitt, who is Pitt is Pitt. All right, so
Pitt is Pitt. Pitt is Pitt, and Pitt is not the Pitt of Ben Howland or Jamie Dixon either. Pitt is garbage.
It's not your older
right now.
It's not your older brother's Pitt.